when you first heard, before I asked Dr. Banerjee what motivated him to write this book and what was his entire effort of transformation that he dreams about in this book, at some stage he also wants transformation leaders to be a part of his university, because so that they can transform the world. As experts in HR, as experts in the corporate world, what did you think of the title when you first read the title?
First of all, congratulations for making this happen.
Thank you.
I have started actually reading Gita recently. I haven't read it yet. What I liked about the Gita is that you can start and you can open the book from anywhere. Initially started like, it has to be read from the beginning to the end. And then one fine day I realized I can open the book at any point in time, and it's a serendipitous discovery. Usually many a time, whatever verse that opens up becomes very true at the stage that you are. So I just opened this book, and I find this on page 210. The Lord explains further to Arjun that he is the goal of life in the short term as also in the long term of life.
Wow.
So which is like what we are looking at is that learning never stops. You have to compete with yourself and nobody else. And this is, I think, what is the crux for everybody. For me, the question is that when you were writing this book, did it happen that you started from when you were reading the Gita from beginning to end, or was it something like this that you can start this book anytime at any place?
Yeah, madam. To respond to this from my personal point of view, I've been into these Vedas and Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita more than 50 years now. Almost, I started when I was 10 years old. From that point of view, it was handed over to me by my grandfather, who was a Vedic scholar. And so the journey started from there. It's a first to last, several thousand times it's being done. But then I agree with you that from anywhere, that's the, main attraction or point of attraction of a core philosophical book, that you open from anywhere, you find some relevant things or something which is connected with the end of this logic of the book. I give an example. When Plato came up with the, capital, meaning he talked about the, he was given the idea that, the nations cannot be, so sovereignty is one of the points, and the sovereignty, you are there, then you need to have a land, people, everything. Then Plato was, fully conversant with what, Socrates had said. And then he tried to, mention those in small paragraphs, sermons kind of. And from anywhere if you pick up, you find that Nathishiyatan was the core word of Socrates. From anywhere you find that it is mentioned in a different manner, but the meaning is the same. Bhagavad Gita is one book, from any chapter, anywhere you pick up, you will find the core message comes to the life. And work is always associated with that. Short term and long term, both are taken care of. Prayer and Shreya. Prayer is what is pleasurable, and Shreya is what is electable. You identify certain things which are good for life. This is your Shreya. And prayer is something which is good for time, for this time. I give an example in many places. I guess that could be a little bit, short-term example, but still it connects. See, somebody is given a glass full of sugar juice every day. And the other person is given a, little bit of neem juice, maybe 1 teaspoonful of neem juice every day. The sugar juice glassful of that, is so palatable. And, if you continue, then disaster is obvious. And the name juice doesn't create that disaster in the long run, but in the short run, for the moment when you are actually swallowing, you are sipping in, yes, it's not that easy. You need to have some honey in that on your tongue. So that's the kind of thing. In our life, what happens is short-term things bother us very much. We are occupied. Somebody says something, some words of praise. Words of praise are carried, in a delighting mood. Some words of scold or critical, ideas, critical reference. These are, dark images in the mind. It creates dark images. So can we have the, equality in both the places? Dukhe saha anudvigna manaha, sukhesu bigata spriha, pitarago vayakshrodaha, samatyang munihi uchchate. Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, Arjuna, you have to do the work, but don't consider the others, don't look at the others with a view of hatred. It is a duty, that's why you are doing this. You are not a killer. You are a person who is removing, who is, destined to remove or help the divine system to remove the evils from the society. Look at it from that perspective as your kind of duty. So you are duty-oriented to do righteous things, principles which are righteously oriented and leading to a righteous society.
Wow. Wow. Actually, I forgot to tell you in his introduction, he's a Sanskrit scholar. All his life he's devoted into learning the deeper meaning of the purpose of life, and Sanskrit is in every cell of his body. So to that extent, when you are a scholar and you have aspirations to, share your scholastic abilities with the rest of the world in current times, which is very modern, technology driven, it's a very big challenge. It's an absolutely big challenge. Okay, you as experts, you have questions for Dr. Banerjee? Please do. Just introduce yourself once again.
Good morning, all of you. I am Samar Banerjee, CHRO Star Cement. And a big thank you, sir. I think I'm really, really thankful that I'm getting the third book written by sir. And I'm also sorry to say that all the other books I kind of start reading but do not make much headway. Why? For the reason, and that is maybe I'm trying to understand from you, as you have come out with your third one, and the name really resonates with all of us. And more so, as Bhatia sir was telling, that in the current age, when there is enormous pressure of doing things not today, it says it is to be done yesterday. And as little of what I have heard about Gita, I do not really know much about it, that keep doing whatever is you are supposed to do and don't wait for the results, or phal ki aasa mat karo. So do you think there is a conflict somewhere that is driving the business today, and what is the essential philosophy of Gita? And if yes, so how does it help managers like us who are caught between these two things, one of being righteous and the other one being result oriented?
Wow.
Thank you, sir. I'll take a couple of minutes to,
Please do.
Yeah, actually, long back I wrote a paper that was published in the International Journal of Ethics. And the Journal of Ethics is one of the costliest journals even now in the world, the hard copies. One copy, I guess, it's now 27,000 rupees in Indian currency. And they published one of my paper, and that's copyrighted actually, because of the concept. Actually, my next book is coming up on that. There's organizational character. I've done a lot of studies on that. I've got case studies of some Fortune companies, Fortune 500 companies, on the issue of organizational character. Now, what is it? Actually, we are conversant with the issues of organizational behavior, the leadership principles, managerial principles. But when it comes to the functional area of the company or any organization for that matter, the core objective is in many cases, forgotten, or you have to set aside the core objective in order to win the business for the moment. And if you fail to win the business for the moment, your survival becomes a question mark, which we have seen during the period of Corona throughout the world. Many companies had to, go for a shutdown. And in fact, we have bought a, building in Sector 5 that was a Corona-stricken actually. That was a very famous company they were running. And when the owner had approached me through one of my friend in Bangalore, and then he said that my bank is after me because the EMIs are, unpaid. It's more than 1.5 years, so it's now legal issue. So we could rescue the person, from that, and then so Corona has and the 3,500 people were working in the building which we acquired, and overnight the number came down to 65. 65 is so horrible a picture. See, this kind of dynamics happens and may happen anywhere and everywhere. It's not just the Corona. It's about the business. If you look at the Indian, top 100, when we have done our PhD work, unfortunately I have done in finance, and we had a lot of studies in financial areas for the financial performances. And the 90s, 100, top 100, 80s, top 100, then this century, first decade, second decade, top 100. There's so much of difference, you will find only 4 or 5 common remaining, and through transformation. So the point is, when we have to create a sustainability, we need to have a spirit, and the spirit comes from the character. Character is something which is maintaining, meaning it continues as a kind of underlying flow. Character is imbued with, or it has to imbibe certain principles. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. These 3 are the principles. The personality classification which the Western scholars have done, the classification is very, lame, meaning I told them, like in many of my US lectures I have mentioned that your classification is so short-sighted. We have a classification, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, is so unique and perfect in it. If you're going to identify the mix, for example, to what extent the Sattva has to be there, Rajas has to be there, and Tamas has to be there. I gave an example of a candle. For example, let's take a candle A, B and C. Candle A is a candle which is a normal one, having, wick inside, meaning thread inside, and the wax around in a right proportion. Just that, candle which we have used for lighting of the lamp. And the candle burns, it gives flame and it can be used. The other candle, let's say B, is a very thin, silky thread inside, and the entire is wrapped into wax, thick wax. And C is the opposite, very thick, a thread inside and a little bit of wax around. So the B and C, anybody can say that B and C is not likely to burn for or give that kind of flame. Only A can give. So that's a balance. Life requires a balance. Balance has to be there. Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. These 4 aspects of life are there. Righteousness should be the basis of life. Righteousness, it doesn't have any religion. Anybody can pursue that. Righteousness is a good principle. You have to speak the truth, you have to be honest, you have to be caring, you have to have a compassion, you have to, take care of the nature, the horizon, the downtrodden, so all these things. These are there, and companies can benefit immensely through this characterization of the departments, activities, functions. Nobody has tried as yet, but I guess if any company does this as a kind of adaptive principle and a piloting, I guess the company is going to be benefited out of it.
Wow. Very
Thank
well
you, sir.
said. I personally appreciate every input that you've given. I hope you got your answer. So the next time you are, get disassociated with a book, remember to put more energy into it. The greater the energy, the greater the effort to understand. At the end of the day, most problems in organizations exist because of understanding or misunderstanding. right? But whether it's between groups or whether it's between teams or with individuals, there are pseudo individuals who think extreme about themselves. And as an HR leader, I did not tell you, handling them is a challenge by itself. Okay, you have a question for these experts that you want to see. After his, I have a question for you experts as a message to my set of bright students there. Please wave out, my dear students. Stand up and wave out. Those bright students who are sitting there, what is the message you will give? So, sir, what is the question you have?
Yeah, I don't have any question. I have a request that, if there can be one piece of advice to the young people, because, I'm a lover of the young people. Because, a lot of people say that Gen Z is so erratic and chaotic. When the theory of chaos was first evolved in 80s, I was a student of chaos at that time, and I was a student of mathematics. And then I took the chaos in such a strong way. Dimitris Korapas, afterwards when he applied it in physics, nuclear physics, and was awarded the highest prize in the world, Nobel. So this is a chaotic. So people say that they are chaotic in the mind. I find that they are creative in their mind. What is a piece of advice that you wish to give between this chaos and the creative? If you have anything to say.
So this should be by rounds, yeah?
Yeah.
So you get 6 pieces of advice.
Very good morning to all of you. I am Indranil Sanyal from Nirmal Bang. We had the privilege of having a few of the management trainees of EIILM who had worked as a summer intern with us for 2 months. So it was a very pleasurable experience to have them amongst us. As sir has rightly said, that they are very energetic, and what I liked about them is their inquisitiveness, their thoughtfulness, and their dedication towards the project which they had. Just one word of advice is that a bit of discipline is required, and which I hope they will use it for their future endeavors. And rest, as sir has rightly mentioned in the book, which I have not read as of yet, but it's a bit difficult what is written in Gita, ki karma kore jao pholer asha koro na. But in the corporate world, it's a bit difficult because obviously we look for results. So you have to strike a balance between both these worlds. Thank you.
Actually, Bhagavad Gita has not said the karma kore jao pholer asha koro na. It has actually said that you do your work, but don't do it for your selfish gain. Do it for, if you are doing the work for a cause, that cause has to fulfill. So your objective has to fulfill, but don't do it for your personal, selfish gain. That's what I think.
Wow.
Good morning, everyone. Sir, once I need an advice from you as a sports person. We have ISL clubs, I-League clubs. So every day, the players in the field, I think the meditation is a must. Meditation is a must, and that is lacking. That is lacking in the players for Indian team, for football, for cricket, everywhere. Sir, I need a bit of advice from you in this regard.
Madam, actually, I tell you, we had introduced in Phulpur plant of IPCO, I guess it's 99, 98. That point of time I was with IIM Kolkata, Joka, and the Phulpur plant, the morning meditation 7 o'clock for 10 minutes. The same thing I had introduced in IOC, the Guwahati, near Guwahati there is IOC. I don't know whether anyone from IOC or IPCO is here or not, then you must be knowing. Also there, when Mr. Rainer was there, he later on became the chairman, and he had introduced in all the centers of IOC at that point of time. But that 10 minutes was difficult from the departments at certain point of time. But this 10 minutes helps a lot, helps a lot, 10 minutes of internalization. Meditation means it's the internalization. You just close your eyes and, think about things, whatever you want to think. And you will find some pivotal point comes up. Maybe a problem, maybe an issue, maybe something which you need to solve and intervene, you get a better solution when you have internalized. You get it. That way it helps. Thank you.
Wow, beautiful. Who's going to make the next comment?
Okay.
I thought you were going this way. Okay, reverse order.
Okay, so I think, thank you. First of all, it was a big honor to, release the book. I think to release a book with the name Gita for Work and Life is quite an honor, and this is the first time that I've released the book. I'm pretty overwhelmed.
Wow.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Appreciate it.
See, I think what you said, Gen Zs are curious, as well as there's a lot of chaos. I think what they need is, just some direction in their own way, in their own language. I think as millennials, we need to understand their language, what would interest them. I've seen a lot of Instagram channels where there are people who are trying to decipher the Gita in the Gen Z language. So they speak in their own terms. I'm sure a lot of you have Gen Z kids at home. So they speak in a different language. So if we can, bring the learnings of this great book, called Gita, which everyone knows in this world, and the learnings from this to Gen Z in their own language, in sizes and in bits and pieces which they can understand and, they can capture, I think that would be very helpful, because my experience is that Gen Zs, they are very eager to learn, but they don't have patience. I mean, they cannot, you cannot expect them to sit through hours of learning. So they need to be given something in small doses which they can digest. So that would be very helpful for them.
Madam, you will find, you will find that, very sorry. End of the book, just end. The book ends with, just end, page number 357 and 358.
Page 357, 358.
This page. Just these 2 pages. I thought that, the Bhagavad Gita is created by, is presented by says Vyasa. Then I thought that I need to give a summary of that. So this is composed by me. I have given a summary in Sanskrit, in English. Also there is, in Bengali, which is I have not given here, in Hindi also. But in English and Sanskrit it's there. So 10 points are there, 10 principles. If you look at each of these principles, nothing is connected with your rituals. No rituals is there. It's all your thoughts, and see, the thoughts breed the action. Sow a thought, reap an act. Sow an act, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. And sow a character, reap a destiny. So from thoughts to destiny, you have to pass through the creation of habit, then character. So the habit is the repetitive action which makes the habit. If some, from the childhood, if a boy, if a baby is made to do a practice of good things, will continue doing good things. Made to, allow anything and everything, then automatically the erratic and chaos will come. What he has mentioned as a discipline, it is that. Disciplining the mind, focusing the mind on one thing. That is what she mentioned about the meditative thing, internalization. I call it introspection. We don't call it a meditation, we call it introspection. You do an introspection in the companies. Meditation is a term which is used by the religion, so let us avoid this. Let's call it introspection. You look at yourself. If we look at ourselves, then where is the religion in that? If you can. And you find that what are the good things, what are the, flames inside, good flames inside, or if there is any point which could be considered dirty and should be taken care of, we need to take care of. So that way it helps. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Vinita Mehta. I head the HR for Aulic Ice Creams. Thank you so much, sir. It was, I think, privileged to be holding one of the first few books. Now, my message to some of the younger professionals would be, as we were discussing about creativity, chaos, smart work is not just the function, I mean, results is just not the function of smart work or faster work, but results is also a function of perseverance, hard work, and dedication. So while being chaos is great because it leads to a lot of creativity, a lot of innovation, but there has to be a method to the madness.
Wow, wow. And when you actually say method to the madness, everything seems so rushed in today's, no sir, I have a mic. Oh yeah, everything seems so rushed today, no? And in this rush, how do you create that method to the madness?
I think I would link to what he just now mentioned, habits which leads to destiny. Yeah.
And discipline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And do you think as as somebody who is in the role of an HR, you're a very conscious citizen of India, and of any one of you, do you think that today's younger generation, needs a lot more hand-holding than before? Please do, since you're making it come.
No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't
They're
think
too
so.
smart?
They have access to better information than what we had. There are more skills available, which was not available, say, a decade or two back. They will be actually witnessing more faster changes in the world because of the digitization and AI and all. And they are good. They have their own space. Where I'm coming from is, I'll just take an example of what is trending for the leadership for Aditya Birla Group also. Some of the key leadership initiatives are around being mindful, being disciplined. So the ISP professor, the most sought after program is around how do you center yourself, the mindfulness. So when I just reflect back to the line that I was reading from this book is that you are work in yourself in the short term and the long term. So each one of us has the responsibility of working on ourselves in the short term and the long term. And hence for the younger generation also the same is applicable. Understand that people who are now, whom we call at my generation, who were the Gen Zs, are getting older, and they are kind of going to deal with Gen Alpha and Gen Beta. And the underlying things remains the same. The research is talking about everybody is looking for meaning in life, and they are looking for methods in madness. So I think the reflections, as Mr. The sir talked about, reflection, sitting with yourself are the skills which is going to be important for all of us, including the younger generation. They will find the method in the madness through such skills.
Wow, beautiful. I think what you've spoken is straight from your heart, and that you've experienced it so many times,
Yes, of course. We all are going through that chaos.
Correct. You're dealing with them so much with an anticipation that they become better humans first.
They are good humans. Let's not disregard that. It's just sometimes it's misguided, I would say.
Correct.
Misguided in the manner that social media becomes so much important for me.
Correct.
My comparison and my, I am dependent on someone else's affirmation for me.
Correct.
That I lose myself.
Correct.
So those are the balancing acts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You were making a point. Did you want to?
I think we also had a batch of about 7 sales trainees with us, mostly working in the Northeast. They were from EIILM. And I had a summer intern in HR department with me. My take on this entire Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and our Gen X conflict is entirely different. Who created it, first of all? Are we as Gen X not responsible for creating that? And now we have created it, or we have leveled it in a manner, and then we are finding fault with it. I still remember when we were child, our parents and even our grandparents used to tell us the same thing, that you guys are restless, you are impatient. Have we not heard the same thing from our parents or grandparents?
Absolutely.
And the other side of it is what we are today not able to kind of harness. So I use the word harness. You have extremely high energy and creativity. I have two Gen Zs at home, and also Zen Alpha is my nephew. So he is today, yesterday I met him, he was saying ki Jethu, ami ekta website banacchi. Alan to website dekha amake? Bolo na, I've still not posted it in the server. So I was actually amazed. And look at the positive side of it. The amount of creativity, the amount of energy, the amount of involvement that these people have is something that we need to harness, both from the HR point of view and from the business point of view. Today, when we have an era of Blinkit and Zepto, where things are to be delivered faster than it was yesterday, so who is going to do it for you? And today I keep blaming Gen Z, you are restless, you don't focus, but I want for me things to be delivered within 6 minutes. So as sir was telling, the character part of it. So this is how the character is. And this is what it is. So instead of trying to figure out as to what is wrong, I think let us look at harnessing and leveraging what is good in them. And I'm really thankful. I keep on learning from Gen Z and Gen Alpha every day. And I'm really happy that we are in this era where we getting this opportunity to learn from youngsters.
Absolutely.
And I think great times ahead. Thank you, sir.
You know, I must admit, my grandchildren teach me more about technology than I can ever imagine in my life. And I thought I'm so proud of it, because this young boy who's 9 years old knows so much more about advanced versions of WhatsApp than I ever can discover. And I'm very proud to learn that from that 9-year-old boy. So whenever I get stuck, I have to just, make sure that I approach them, and then I'm up to date on the latest trends in technology. Okay, anybody in the audience, you have a question for Dr. R.P. Banerjee and any of the experts sitting here who had the honor? Yes, I can see one hand go up.
Dr. Banerjee, I am Sanjeev Dubey from Tuaman Engineering. I learned in the initial days of the civilization, the learnings were transferred through Shruti. Slowly it got converted into Smriti. It was all good as long as we were only talking about it in Sanskrit. But over the last maybe 1,000, 2,000 years, what has happened? When it has been translated into multiple languages, where the interpretation has changed, it is becoming very difficult. What is really meant from what is written in the book? How do you suggest that in this today's world, where we have ample of information, but we are not very sure whether that information is accurate or not? Especially when we talk about this Bhagavad Gita, the shloka karmanyeva adhikaraste, many people, and my 21 years of discussing with people, that it doesn't say that you have no right on the phal. You will receive it because karma never goes waste. It will always come back to you. But because somebody has written it in a way, people have read it. So what is your message so that we are able to interpret the right thing in the right manner, so the essence is still there? Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Is a really very interesting point that you've raised. I'll just take you to one, it's a different issue, but it will actually connect with your point of, changing or the dynamics of the meaning of things and the dynamics of the sources of authenticity. For example, Harappan civilization were discovered some time back, as you know. Last century, beginning of the last century, it was there. The people who were there, among them one professor from Calcutta University, Rakaldas Bandyopadhyay was there, along with Martin Wheeler, and Wilson and others were there. Later on, a team of scholars had joined. Bidula was one of the most important scholars in that. they have identified that, the artifacts which were identified from the sites, Mohenjo-daro sites and Harappan sites, each one has got a story. But the story is not written that way. Some of the symbols are there. Now the symbols have been deciphered in terms of language, and you'll find the initial perception by those who had discovered it, and the perception later on when it was deciphered in terms of the language by the scholars later on following the scientific principles, have got not really perfect similarity, but close to perfection in this similarity. So you see, the points that we keep in mind in our society as a kind of memory, stock of memory. Thousands and thousands of years Indian civilization has kept the source of wisdom and knowledge in the form of memory. And that memory has actually proved it through the living of lives. So it's translated into your actions and habits and living in real time and real world. Over the ages, the meaning at the surface changes. Each language, literature, everything changes. If you look at the English language, it changes. The Bengali language, Sanskrit, it has also undergone so many changes. Pali, when it was first taken, the form of Pali which was there, later on the Pali has got a lot of impacts and influence from Sanskrit, and so a lot of changes have occurred. So this is a kind of transformation which is known as the adaptive process. Adaptive process, first translation of the Upanishad was done by a person who was an Arabian scholar, Arabic, in his mind, and he did it in, in association with a French, expert in India and also in France, Darashuko, and from there the first translation in English also had emerged. So Sanskrit to French to Arabic to English. So that was the first thing. And when you look at it from a reverse angle, you try to understand the authenticity of the original. Now this was done by a team of scholars also on the Upanishads. One is Sergeant Marshall was there, and then there are a lot of other people who has done. Marshall's work is phenomenal work, and there you'll find it comes to not exact similarity but close to the, so the major theme, main theme remains the same over a period of time. The point is, when we come to Bhagavad Gita, as I've said, my objective is not to spread religion. I'm not into that. And that's what, I've written the Vedic economy. It's from economic. I had delivered a talk on Buddhist economy in San Francisco temple. That's the largest Buddhist temple in the world. And there, it was a 2-day series of talks on Buddhist economy. So see, I am a person, I believe in humanity and I support humanity. I wrote a long series on the Sufism in the organ of Ramakrishna Mission, International Journal of, there is an English International Journal of Ramakrishna Mission, Prabuddha Bharata. And that I wrote a long series about it. See, you will find the good elements for human society to live and survive forward, to create a better society. That it's not very important what exactly was uttered by Lord Krishna and communicated by others to us, it's not important. Important is what is contained in that and whether that message is relevant to us in our modern living or not. If I find that it has got a relevance, then where is the problem in accepting in that? If we have the open mind, then we'll accept it. And if it's our volition, if it's your intent, it's your desire, whether you accept or not, that's up to you. But we can accept it for the betterment of the society. I take an example, like I told there is a person, a great scholar, who is working on cancer research, a very strong scholar from Calcutta. He is a Calcutta origin person, Siddharth Mukhopadhyay. He has done his the Emperor of Maladies on the first walk. It is world famous, and it was a bestseller in entire Europe, in entire United States for 3 long months continuous. The Emperor of Maladies, you will get the book. And that's the cancer research they've started in, Lawrence, and I happened to meet him and had a long discussion with him on an issue. The issue was he visited Italy. There is a school called, in Italy, and where Vatican is there is a very ancient school, Croton School. And the Croton School, the Indian business people used to visit via the Middle East and gather there in Italy, and there the trade and process were exchanged with gold, small gold units. And along with them, a lot of sages used to grow. And that was a point where sages used to meet. He took a reference of that Croton School from some reference in Italy, and that he has given in his cancer research also, wherein he has found the Ayurvedic principle of the multiplication, erratic multiplication of the cells. There are certain points which he has taken as a kind of cue, and now they are on the verge of getting, for wonderful outputs, I guess. And I wish that, though twice rejected by the Nobel Committee, I guess and wish that it has to come to the Nobel Committee and they will be forced or bound to accept it because of the revolutionary identifications. See, the things on cover have changed, but the contents actually, are very important.
Correct.
I look at it from that point of view.
Wow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank all of you and Dr. Banerjee from the bottom of my heart for making it happen for me. Thank you.